as present here tonight. He's going to receive the proclamation here for Fred Hall that we had the service today, which was a beautiful service that was held today here at the Presbyterian Church and then at the Green Hill Cemetery. I want to thank everybody that had a hand in that, especially Jesse. Jesse had a major hand in that by coordinating police and getting the car down there for us. And so we appreciate, Jesse, you taking care of that for us. So that you even got us a driver. Julia done a pretty good driving today.
And
They won't let me behind the wheel no more.
We didn't wreck, so that was, we didn't run over anybody. So.
You must have talked to my wife because she won't let me drive no more. Okay, we'll move on here to the calendar. On the calendar, we got the Church Street Art and Craft Show coming up here. It's the 40th anniversary. It's on October the 14th. This is coming up this Saturday, and that's from 10 to 5. And then on Saturday, October the 21st is the back-to-back. We have the Apple Festival on Main Street. It also is 10 a.m. to 5. And then our next board meeting will be Tuesday, October the 24th here. Okay, we'll move along. And we have any public comments on? Gavin, you must have caused that. I mean, we appreciate that. When we don't have no public comments, you've done a great job. Oh, I'll quit joking here and get to work. Okay, we'll move on to additions, deletions to the agenda. Does anyone have any changes or anything? If not, I'll ask for a motion that be approved.
So moved, Mayor.
Got a motion by Anthony,
Second.
second by Julia. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign.
I'll make a motion, Mayor, to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, I got a
Second.
motion. Second by Chuck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Order. Okay, we're moving along now. Okay, Gavin, if you wouldn't mind maybe coming up to the podium here. And I know it's a little different. You coming up to the podium, you usually keeping me kind of straight here.
I want to come tonight to thank the Board of Aldermen, the town of Waynesville, the staff, the police department, public works, the cemetery committee for what they did in providing a wonderful, wonderful event today. I always hate to say that I had fun at a funeral, but I enjoyed today's services immensely. My girlfriend, my forever fiance, Renee, said that it was a powerful event, and I think that's what we did for the rest of the people that visited here. As I've said 1,000 times before, I'm always pleased to have been the mayor of the town of Waynesville, and today proved to me that I made a correct assessment in that statement. We have done a good job. The board here has done a good job also. I want to applaud you a little bit. When I grow up, I want to be the town of Waynesville. I guess that's the best way for me to put it. I would love to be the town of Waynesville. Gary has a proclamation I think he wants to read for us about Mr. Hall. Captain Hall was a wonderful gentleman. I knew him just a little bit. My purpose in being here is because my brother was good friends with Freddie. They grew up together, went to college together, the fraternities together, all that kind of business. Both navigators on Phantom jets, and both, of course, killed in Vietnam. So my connection is that way, but I really appreciate what you have done as a community to provide a wonderful service for Freddie to come home to. Thank you, Mayor Caldwell.
Okay, sir. The town of Waynesville proclamation in honor of Captain Fred Hallway. Whereas Captain Frederick Marvin Hall was born in Haywood County, North Carolina in 1943. Whereas Captain Fred Hall was heavily involved in our community, has close ties to Waynesville, working as a lifeguard at the town of Waynesville Pool and attending school at Waynesville Township High School. Whereas Captain Hall answered the call of service to his country, voluntarily enlisted in the United States Air Force in 1967. Despite being exempt from the draft due to his status as an only son, and whereas after being married for only 2 months to Julia Hall, Captain Hall was deployed to Vietnam in 1969. Whereas on April 12th, 1969, Captain Hall climbed into the rear seat of a McDonnell Douglas Ford to serve as a navigator for a mission in Guam province. The mission was aborted, but on the return flight, Captain Hall's aircraft crashed. While in an immediate search of the area, wreckage was discovered, but not the crew. Captain Hall was declared missing in action by the United States. And whereas on February 9th, 1978, Hall was officially declared killed in action. Despite the lack of discovery of his remains, and whereas after years of searching, Captain Hall's remains were discovered on March 23rd, 23 in Quang Nam province. Captain Frederick Marvin Hall will be laid to rest on October the 10th, 2023 at Green Hills Cemetery, Waynesville, North Carolina, in his hometown, following a service at Presbyterian Church. Whereas Captain Frederick Hall is an outstanding son of Haywood County, having lived most of his life here, impressing all those who knew him with his high moral fiber, devotion to God, love of his family, his friends, and willingness to help others of need and love for these mountains of Western North Carolina. And now, therefore, it be proclaimed by Waynesville Town Council that the week of October 8th through October 14th, 2023 is Fred Hall Week. And witness, I hereunto set my hand, cause be affixed the official seal of the town of Waynesville, this the 10th day, October 2023. And I will present that to you, Kevin.
I'm going to present it to you, widow Judy. Jeff, thank you for the opportunity to take that to us.
Okay.
Appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kevin. Okay, we'll move on here. We got a presentation here, public presentation on Town of Waynesville Stormwater Program. I'll ask for Miss Olga and Christine O'Brien from Haywood Waterways are going to be do our presentation here tonight. Okay, ladies.
The town of Waynesville holds a stormwater and the permit that was first issued in and the permit requirement is 57 rows of the land. And one of the requirements is to provide public communication on the impact of stormwater related issues and program. So this year requires public by our plan. So with that, waterways will present some issues, and this presentation will also include some other work that waterways have done with our water department of both to fix some issues to this. Let me turn it over to the Thanks all.
Is that microphone working?
Battery.
Is it that? No. Do I have to
Elizabeth, there might be some batteries back there on that table.
Or the doors.
Oh, word. That sounds like a microphone. Yep. Okay,
Oh,
that's
it's
good.
working now.
Still,
It's live.
the battery's low.
It's still weak. We do commercial. Does everybody go to a commercial? Alex, how's the new baby?
Give out.
Wow.
It is worth every minute.
Yeah. You better, man. I'm telling you. they
Is that
grow up
better now?
fast,
Is it
don't they,
working?
John?
Although I suppose some of those minutes
working
feel longer
better?
than others.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
So, Alex, You remember that whole concept of a weekend, right?
Okay, you were right.
Yeah, I think it's good. I'll just lean into it.
What it is, man.
Yep. It's all one and the same now.
Okay.
Okay, continue on.
Yes. Difficulties here with the technology, or I should say batteries. Yes, so I'm with Haywood Waterways. I'll be discussing setup. I'll go over where it comes from and why should we care and some possible solutions for it. But I wanted to start out first by giving you a quiz. What is the number one pollutant? Anybody?
Stormwater.
No?
Sedimentation.
Sediment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nationwide, stormwater pollution is the number one pollutant, but here in Haywood County and a lot of our western counties, it's actually sediment. There we go, the answer. Okay, and where does it come from? It comes from a variety of places. Construction site runoff, they have improper or lacking silt barriers set up, stream bank erosion, inadequate stream bank vegetation, insufficient cover crop in the winter. So that top left corner photo there showing some runoff from a farmer's field that's near my house with some snow. Building on steep terrain, and then we've got some landslide and unpaved roads. About 17 years ago, Haywood Waterways paid for a comprehensive study to determine where our main source of sedimentation was coming from, and it's actually unpaved roads. Why should we care? Well, of course, the sediment, as it works down our watershed after every heavy rain, washes into our creeks. And as it washes into our creeks, it tends to settle on the bottoms of our rivers. I always talk to the students when I go to their classrooms and I ask them, what color is the water today? Of course, it's clear. We haven't had a lot of rain. Well, what color is it after a rain? Chocolate milk. So what happens is that sediment eventually settles out and it lays on the bottoms of our streams where we have, on the left there, we have stoneflies. We have mayflies and caddisflies. And we also have a lot of fish, like our trout, that like to lay our eggs in that gravel that's free of sediment. If the eggs are laid and sediment comes to lay over these eggs, it'll actually suffocate them because they are no longer able to absorb oxygen from our water column. So we like to keep a healthy river so that our bugs are happy because our bugs feed our trout. And not only do the bugs feed the trout when these bugs are in the water, they have a flying phase. So when these bugs eventually hatch out after a couple of years, they produce food for the trout once again, but also other critters that fly around like bats and birds and other organisms like snakes and frogs. So our water quality has a lot to do with how much sediment is in our water. So we want to try to minimize the amount of sediment in our water because it does hold a lot of organisms that help keep our ecosystem stable and happy. And of course, trout is big for our economy here in Haywood County in the western North Carolina. And people like to come to our clean, clear waters to play golf, to fish, to go hiking to waterfalls, snorkeling, and kayaking. If those waters were murky, people would probably not want to get in them for fear it would be polluted. Okay, so solutions. We can reduce building on steep slopes. We can make sure that our sediment barriers are set up on our construction sites. We can divert water off unpaved roads into vegetated areas to allow that water to slow down and absorb into the ground without washing that sediment away. And we're really asking the homeowners to focus on a no-mow zone within 10 to 25 feet from any water source that they have on their land. And of course, the big solution is plant, plant, plant. We are asking homeowners to pick native plants because they are more well adapted to our climate here. And they will provide better food sources for our wildlife because they are adapted to the native plants. So here I've got photos of some youth planting. Haywood Waterways has a grant currently right now that has funding to purchase plants. The catch is the plants are free if we can get the kids to come and dig the hole, put the plants in. So we've had several projects throughout Haywood County. We're working on one now up Shelton Branch from a private homeowner to help get some plants in. The photo on the right hand of the screen is what we want our streams to look like. We want the stream banks to go wild so that we can protect the waters. Okay, and I think I handed it over to you, right? Okay.
And next, I just want to share some local examples of sedimentation and erosion control measures. And this is not meant to point a finger at anybody specifically, but just some projects and some of the issues we see and some of the fixes, pretty much good and bad examples.
So the important part is
Maintaining construction, especially for
implementing covers, given the power should be done on the
um,
right side.
the way
Another example is silt fence not strong enough, when you have a lot of acreage on the right side, you can you decide to pipe too much for that area. Or you can do it correctly, small area and not so that was my favorite.
favorite excuse actually always until the site is stabilized, especially on the steep slope downhill to neighbors. So you see to the left, the fence was partially. I'm not sure why they stopped there, and it wasn't so I'm not sure it affects that.
So, again, so then it
Has to be buried, underground.
So,
They did.
do a thing right, but then,
There's nowhere to bury. That's where it's going to be.
that, they do have, by the time you got there, there are other measures that that's another one, that's the use of the straw. So the question is really, friendly, with straw, but then when it rains, the straw just rains it. So it's still fence there, ended up, so, pretty much, you had to be more than one.
And next, as a part of our stormwater program, we also contract with Hay Waterways to do the hotspots monitoring for potential sewer line breaks. And in this section, Christine will talk about the awesome job that Wayne Bolin and his crew did to fix in some major sewer line leaks. I'll turn it to her.
I'm sorry, the slide is not very big. So, when I first started doing the surveys back in May and June, I found a couple of hot spots and went in and reevaluated them. To date, I've located 3 sewer line issues. Well, actually 4 now, because there's a new one we're continuing to investigate. I haven't gone back yet. So let's start with the big one. Okay, so fecal counts of 200 colonies per mil and below are acceptable. I was getting 48,000 right down here at the Pigeon Road crossing 276 with Shelton Branch. So I made my way upstream and found there was a broken sewer line behind the Pigeon Community Center. So I called Jeff and Wayne and alerted them. They came out and then they investigated right away. And I think they found that there was a pretty good break up hillside. So they were able to go in there and repair that, and I've since gone back, and those numbers have gone way down. That break was so big, it was affecting the water quality at the Waynesville Rec Park on Richland Creek, so that was a big one. And then the number 2 one, I was out doing some outfall surveys, and I saw an overflow, one of the stormwater or manholes. So I called Wayne up. They're going to hate me by the time I'm done doing the monitoring. And he had his crew out right away, and there was a clog in the pipe, so they fixed that one. And then the problem child of all of them has been a storm drain at the roundabout. And we were getting some pretty high numbers in the morning there, and it has taken us months to figure out where this was coming from. Wayne, poor Wayne, he's like, I went out and we put so much dye down this sewer that it was showing up down at the water treatment facility. At the sewer treatment plant. The guys were calling him up saying, "Are you dyeing something? Because our ponds are all green." And we still couldn't figure out where it was coming in. But I think a couple of weeks ago, there was a call to check a clean out valve. And when they went in there, there was some cracked terracotta and a bunch of roots up in there. So they think, and they did a dye test there, and it did show up in our culvert. So that has since been repaired. I'm waiting for some rains to flush the system, literally, before I go back and do a resample. So fingers crossed on that one. And then we're also looking up Browning Branch. We were getting some high fecal counts right below where it goes into Richland Creek near Hazelwood. And I worked my way upstream, and there was a suspicion of subsiding pavement on Putnam Street right next to a storm manhole there. And so he sent his crew out to get, I guess, clearance to do some digging to check on that one. And switching to the water line issues, I came across 2 water line breaks while I was out wandering around the creeks of Waynesville. If you guys want to come with me one day, just let me know. So one of them was under the toffee place down here, right off of 276, and evidently they had a line break under their building. So, Waynesville doesn't have to worry about it. And there was a water line break under Maple Street. And Wayne said, last time I talked to him, he said that he has gotten clearance to dig, and I think they found that one 50 feet away. Water lines, I guess, are a little more difficult to find because you can't just dye it like you can the sewer and the stormwater. So they found that one really quick. Wayne and Jeff have been awesome to work with. They always answer the phone, even though they know I'm calling, probably not with good news, and help me troubleshoot and discuss ways to better find out where the breaks come. So I try to make it easy for them. And they've been really good about updating me on their repairs and stuff. So kudos to their department and for putting up with me. I'm going to be heading out in the field probably in the next week or 2. I'm just giving you a heads up, Jeff. That's all I have.
That is all from us, and if you have any questions for Christine or for me, you have to answer them.
Does anyone have any questions concerning?
Great work. Thank you.
We want to thank you so much, and please keep your eye out for us there. We
Oh yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah. I was getting pizza for my son the other day, and I'm driving down Cherry Street, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's bubbling water in there." I've called up Jeff Monday. He's like, "Yeah, they're on it."
Yeah. Yeah, we want to be good stewards, here in Waynesville. So please, anytime, give us a call.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Okay, guys, we'll move on here. We got a couple of public hearings here tonight. And so to get started here, I'll need a motion to open this public hearing.
So moved, Mayor.
Got a motion by Anthony,
Second.
second by Chuck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Okay, Hogan, if you would, it's a public presentation of the town of Waynesville. Well, I know I'm on the wrong one here. Consider the text amendments to clarify the zoning board of adjustment, quadrennial procedures and the land development standards LDS in compliance with GS 160D. Hey, Ms. Hogan.
So this is a proposed text amendment to clarify some what is the Board of Adjustment procedure.
by 160.
You would notice them during our last hearing, and we consulted with our legal attorney, Ron Kuhn, and he inserted the next section from 160D. This text amendment is literally just copy and paste. When 160D came along, very little attention was paid to variances because the changes were minor but important. So we did not update them until now. And well, in your exhibits, you do have highlighted sections that we copied and pasted in our ordinance. And we were already doing the procedures. If anything, we were doing a little bit more than we need to for variances. So the changes are pretty straightforward. The first change is to clarify the quorum for the zoning board of adjustment. So we had it in our ordinance as saying 4/5 for everything. 4/5 is only for variances. Otherwise, the quorum is a simple majority. So what we did, we just put that sentence from that paragraph from 160D into the ordinance. And the second change is the 160D simplified the criteria for variance. So they did leave some of them, they just reworded them, if you will. For example, unnecessary hardship would result from the strict application of the ordinance. That stayed, just that reworded. So the hardship results from the conditions peculiar to the property. That stayed. What has been added is a variance may be granted when necessary and appropriate to make reasonable accommodation under the Federal Fair Housing Act for a person with a disability. So that can be considered now. Another provision that stayed is the hardship did not result from actions taken by the applicant. And lastly, what they've done, they combined the 2 points into one, that public welfare and justice are served, and that the request variance is consistent with the spirit of the ordinance. What they did take out is the proof that the variance is the minimum to afford relief. So now the applicant doesn't have to show that the variance requested is absolutely minimum deviation from the ordinance, and that got taken out. And with this, the staff submits that the ordinance is consistent with the 2035 comp plan goal number 1 to continue to promote smart growth principles in land use planning and zoning, and to encourage infill, mixed use, and context-sensitive development. That's it.
Anyone have questions for Olga? Okay. Thank you, Olga. I will open it up to anyone in the audience who'd like to speak regarding this text amendment. Okay, if not, I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
A
Second.
motion by Julia, second by Chuck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Okay, folks, you have a couple motions here.
I'd like to make a motion to find that the ordinance is consistent with the 2035 comprehensive plan and that it is in the reasonable and in the public interest, in that it continues to promote smart growth principles in land use planning and zoning, encourages infill, mixed use, and context sensitive development.
Okay, I have a motion,
Second.
second by Julia. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Okay, we also have a second motion to either adopt as presented or as amended.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance as presented.
Okay, got a motion?
Second.
Second by Chuck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, we have another public hearing, so I'll need a motion again to open for a second public hearing to consider another text amendment to define and prohibit. Oh, you're gonna have to cryptocurrency, yeah, mining data centers as land use in the land development standards.
I'll
make that
motion,
Mr.
Mayor.
All right, got a motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Okay, Ms. Oden.
Olga Grumman, Land Use Administrator. In this text amendment, we follow the directive from the planning board. Planning board first brought it to our attention, and this is one of the issues. Crypto mining is, you don't hear it until you do. we started doing some research and we found out that many of our neighbors address it in some shape or form. And recently, the Cherokee County made Good Morning American news because there are many crypto farms there. And when they went to investigate, they found more farms there. What crypto farms are the big facilities. They look like warehouses, but they use a lot of computers, technology, water or light energy. They have constant hum in there. Mine digital coins, such as Bitcoin, per se. They store a lot of information there, and they don't create any jobs really. You know, they're usually based overseas. Some countries like China ban them. Some counties like Montana were left with huge electrical bills because they just disappear. They, very hard to find them. And when I started researching, neighbors addressed it differently. Like some counties straight out said, we're going to do moratorium and then we'll get back later to the issue. There was a definition that was going in Henderson County and Fletcher. And I took the basis from that definition as well, and I added some things from the article by the Zoning Practice magazine that's attached in your exhibits. And all the research that I found, I also attached so you can see what other counties are doing. They're adding it to high impact ordinance with some protection just to minimize the environmental effect, not only of noise, but also of the toxic waste disposal of the lithium batteries. So that's one of the issues as well. So many communities choose to prohibit them so they don't sneak under the definition of the warehouse like we have now, and they just open it up, they bring a bunch of computers and do that. So until it's clear where technology will be, we propose to define and prohibit it, and I'll read you the definition in a moment. But what we did do, we added the definition of a data center to that. Again, followed the planning board research. This planning board members were doing some research in the articles, and they found that data centers sometimes are registered as crypto mining operations too. And that's something that we are open for discussion. The data centers we are thinking of, not an IT center for school per se, but it would be a data center for cryptocurrency. That's how we think of it. But I will read you the definition what we have, and if you feel like you need more research, or would rather separate these two items, we'll be happy to do that for you. But this is the definition as it came out of the planning board. Cryptocurrency mining operations data centers. The operation of computer equipment for the purpose of commercial mining of cryptocurrencies or storing data on servers. This activity may involve solving algorithms as a part of the development operations and maintenance, creation of new digital coins, use of computer hardware as well as other equipment storage operations, use of equipment to cool the hardware and operating state, and the use of a peer-to-peer database known as blockchain storage. This definition includes the facilities currently known as facilities, edge data centers, and hyperscale data centers. This definition does not include the use of one personal computer from which cryptocurrency is mined in an enclosed structure, provided the cryptocurrency is not mined for commercial purposes. Again, this was just the definition that we took from Henderson County and the planning magazine. So we are open for your feedback.
Questions for Olga?
Okay, what was the recommendation? Was it unanimous for the planning board?
Yes,
Forward with this?
we keep this definition back and forth a few times, yes. So first we followed the directive and then they decided to do data center. So, and they took some things out in the process and back, so yeah.
I have some issues with data centers. It would prevent someone like the North Carolina judicial system from having a data center for court documents within this town. Right?
It could, no, it's how, yeah, you interpret.
I think that's one of we've been talking about this a lot, kind of internally, is the fact that, and there's kind of from a land use perspective, getting to your question, crypto mines and data centers are two separate functions that do two separate things. Cryptocurrency mines do store data, not their primary function. They have to store it because you got to send it. When it comes to data centers, like a database that stores files. That's not, at least my understanding of data center is not what that is. Now, whether or not the definition fleshes that out properly, I'm not sure, right? If it comes down to, if the county wants to build a place to store their data for their school system, that is different than somebody building a co-location building in order to feed different cloud systems.
So, yeah, but
But-
this would also prevent like a credit card processing center.
Yes,
But it sounds like they're lumped together under what we
They
are
are.
being
They
presented
are.
here tonight. So you
Mhm.
know,
I have a
that's,
little concern with that, because I think
Absolutely.
that there's some areas in our town that could definitely use data centers, and they bring lots of things with them.
Yeah.
We have a data center at Billmont Park.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That stores the judicial information. So I think we need to kind of parse it separate.
How large is that?
It's large.
I think from the community, and Elizabeth might be able to correct me if I step out of line from the planning board's kind of intent of this, is not necessarily the size or the function of it so much as the byproduct of the noise, and it's output around it. So separating the definitions, I think, could do two things. One, you can isolate cryptocurrencies, which categorically take more energy, more fans, more cooling, more noise.
Right.
Just GPUs running all day. Data centers don't run all day. They
Yeah,
run
they
when
don't.
they're told to run. When they're running full steam, they need a lot of power and cooling, but they lay dormant whenever they go home.
Well, the processors aren't going full time.
Exactly.
on all
They
of them.
don't do anything until you input a command.
Right.
The size of them, I believe, might be important because the size of the actual structure is going to determine the amount of cooling that comes in.
Most of them are self-contained cooling. They have all the cooling contained inside.
Yes, with the water cooling.
Right.
Unlike a crypto mine.
So what y'all are talking about is breaking apart the issue of a data center per se and the, a data center that would function as a crypto mining operation, correct?
yes.
Yeah.
Totally think that's a great idea.
So what we can do, we can take the data center out and the sentence which states this definition includes the facilities currently known as colocation facilities, edge data centers, and hyperscale data centers out. And that would be pretty much the definition that we took and added, yeah.
Co-location facilities.
There's
We'll
another
take this
reason I
out.
say
We'll
that
take
is
it out.
generally, if you get a data center, you can also sometimes get call centers, right,
Mhm.
with them, because they're storing the data at that location.
Back in.
I wouldn't want to prevent call center that would bring lots of jobs
Mhm,
Oh,
mhm.
Yeah.
at the same time.
I mean, we might have a data center down there, great.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can take the sentence out completely, and that would keep it clean as.
I really want to thank the planning board for their work on this, but I think we got a couple of tech people.
What if,
Sure,
what
sure.
if we just take this back,
Mhm.
change it up? I'm not comfortable suggesting that we get rid of the definition entirely because I know what a co-location facility is. If
Mhm.
we take that out, I think that would fly in the face of what the planning board and the council wants.
Right.
Well, yeah, so just procedurally on that point, you can, some options. You can close the public hearing, vote to send it back to the board for further study. You can continue the public hearing with a specific instruction to staff, bring back the revised definition, which can then be adopted. Or you can move to amend it now after the public hearing is closed. You can have a motion to amend it and then adopt it as amended. So it just depends on what you want. So if you want the public planning board to take another look at it, send it back on a public hearing, one option, staff can come back, while we keep the public hearing open, bring back more evidence, have an alternative draft for you at the next meeting.
It sounds like,
Or you can close it and have a vote to either adopt, amend, reject.
how do you guys feel? You think it should be sent back and
I think I'd get some clarity of definitions from our staff. I think we understand the intent of the planning board, so it should, I don't think it needs to go all the way.
I don't
back
think
to
it
the
needs to be,
planning board.
I honestly don't think it needs to be sent back to the planning board.
We can bring you
I
an,
think Anthony's correct. We need definitions from staff and,
Yeah, so staff can present more information at the next date that the public hearing is convened to. And then you can adopt those definitions as presented, or you can do your own research and then as they're presented.
so we just need to close this.
We just
public
need, no,
Okay, so
no, we just need to
you'll-
make a motion to continue the
You'll
public
make a
hearing.
motion to continue the public hearing at the next meeting.
October the 24th.
Or are we having a meeting on the 24th? No, that's. Okay. So maybe just the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Yes, I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing until we receive some definitions and clarification from the staff and to the next health meeting,
Regularly
right,
scheduled.
the next regularly scheduled meeting. Thank you.
Okay, got a motion?
I will second that.
Got a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the like sign. Okay, we'll send that one back and just get some.
Point of clarification, would you like us to bring you one definition for crypto mining operations or both crypto mining and data centers? Or would you like to leave data centers completely out? What's the instruction?
Bring it
Bring it
on.
up to.
Two?
Bring it
Yes,
on.
absolutely.
Okay.
and then the specific ones inside will flesh out too. What is it? What is co-location?
Please.
The board may want to limit data centers.
Mhm,
Exactly,
exactly.
which is where I was going with.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Ms. O.
Thank you.
All right. Move on. New business, Chelsea Road Street realignment. Patrick Bradshaw of Civil Design Concepts is gonna be, the presenter here tonight on that. Hey, my friend.
Mayor, council members, thank you for your time this evening. Patrick Bradshaw, Civil Design Concepts. I'm here on behalf of Waynesville Inn and Golf Club to talk about a potential relocation of Chelsea Road. If you're familiar with the area around the golf course and country club area, Chelsea Road kind of proceeds generally from the west, physical Browning Branch, if you will, that direction, in an generally easterly direction past Epson. That's like where Herman's Burgers is at the other end of Epson, I believe, or closely there aligned. But it forms we've been here a minute, like the property where the lodge set, the triangular parking lot, where Chelsea and then the road kind of form triangular intersection there, which happens to be the term, Jesse, but a co-location of another entry that is the service entrance to the Waynesville Inn and Golf Club, kind of their back of house entry. So lots of things going on in that area. I think you have a diagram provided. I've got some additional copies here if anyone needs one, and I can help you. Or have the benefit of your screen. But really the question would be this: right now, Chelsea Road, from, like I say, as it proceeds in a westerly direction past Epsom Road, is a dedicated town street until it intersects with Nineveh. The proposal and the question that we'd like to ask this board is, would you consider a relocation of Chelsea Road just as it clears Waynesville West condominium property and turn it to the north across the end of the existing triangular parking lot? Waynesville Inn would, in fact, dedicate the right of way for the road at that location. We kind of
Just again, giving you a diagrammatic sketch of what that might look like, with a continuation of a sidewalk out to Nineveh. And so this really does a number of things. It provides a good 90-degree intersection for Chelsea and through Nineveh Road, which I think if you've been through that intersection, observed that intersection in a period of time, there were any number of near misses there in a day's time, certainly in a week's time. The angles of those intersecting roads is not ideal. But like I say, it provides just a good perpendicular intersection to Nineveh. In addition, as operations at the country club are kind of up and moving, there's becoming more and more pedestrian traffic as let's say construction is kind of decommissioning and getting out of the triangle parking lot and those residual pieces. The expectation would be that there's going to be a higher frequency of parking, staffing increases, and business property increase. And so it takes out the idea of that pedestrian movement having to navigate Chelsea as well. So kind of makes it contiguous. We wouldn't ask, I don't think, for an abandonment of the remaining right of way where Chelsea lives today as it goes to Nineveh, because there's water, there's sewer, there's power in that. What we would ask is in exchange for the dedication of the right of way, basically parallel to Waynesville West, is just the right to kind of occupy that space, if you will, from a parking perspective. So they would be giving that space in order to put the new road location in, but in turn, park over, and make something sensible out of that. So really, this is an idea and concept before we went very far down a path of design and title work, and pulling attorneys, engineers, and others to a very specific task and party. Elizabeth's got it up on the screen now, so you can kind of see with the benefit of an aerial in the background what's going on there. So, before we went very far down that path, we just wanted to understand what this board would be. Talking about the dedication of right-of-ways, the acceptance of right-of-ways, the abandonment of a portion of right-of-way, at least for transportation purposes, that it would be called for an action by this board to make those things plausible. So.
Okay.
So that's a mouthful. Any questions? Okay.
Yeah. As I spoke with Councilman Sutton, that area, it affects probably him area more. He knows more about how the traffic
Drove that
works.
intersection to get here. I drove that intersection to get here.
Yeah. He understands it more. How does it?
I have mixed views on that, only because we haven't heard from all the people who live very close to that, like on Watch Street. I got some people that were concerned that it would actually bring traffic past their condominiums down. And then on the backside of the condominiums, I had spoke to some people there who had a few concerns. So I would be okay if we could hear from the people in the neighborhood and maybe alleviate some of their concerns, and then make a decision from that point. Get some community buy-in there, because there's concern that it's going to create more traffic in front of them, which I think you're the traffic study guy, but you'll be able to alleviate some of those concerns. And I don't want to make a decision when I know that there's people that will be affected. There's a lot of traffic through there. And the public safety, whenever I was right there at Chelsea, she goes back today, someone was coming out of the country club, and that's a really tight area. Right, you get 3 roads going together right there. Have you heard from anybody, Chet, in that area?
No, I was just gonna ask, so you're looking at, Patrick, bringing Chelsea around and bisecting that triangular piece of property there.
Not so much bisecting it, but actually going to the western margin.
So right there, you would actually close Chelsea Road from Nineveh,
from Nineveh back down.
back down, and then you would have it
You
perpendicular.
can turn this.
I see, okay. So more along the line with the condominiums, the
Right.
townhouses.
Chelsea would, under the current proposal, would remain here and then make a 90-degree turn.
The old lodge parking lot. Yeah.
Yeah, just in this mark here. So that would be the triangle is key to see.
From my opinion, but I'd have to see data, is I think it would actually slow traffic down on Nineveh because people are turning instead of just,
They don't
Right.
even slow down.
they don't
They
slow
cut.
down now whenever they turn
It's
into
a
Chelsea.
dangerous, you know.
But I think it would actually slow traffic down, but I would need data to say that that's. what would happen.
It is true that that intersection at the far eastern corner of the property is difficult.
Yeah, you can't turn
Right now,
left.
and what you're saying is this would make it more safe, but vehicles and pedestrians.
Pedestrian folks walk into their cars and cross there and somebody coming from the Nineveh area,
I'm guessing that
40
Waynesville
mile there. That's all
again
there.
wants to use that more for their employee park.
Yeah, what you find too is that, I call it the existing intersection where you have Chelsea and Nineveh tying together along with, the back of house entrance, to the country club. As you move further to the east, there's also a hill, kind of a rise there, so there's a bit of vertical, curve that's going on that, you can't always see what's coming at you down Nineveh, if you will. So this does a number of things, from that traffic safety standpoint. Like I say, it's hard to discern exactly, and I don't want to portray it as a minimalistic effort. But, if a road and the ultimate connections were completely cut off, you stand a chance of changing the traffic pattern. But given that one can still go all the
Just have to
same
go, but
places that you
stop
could.
and They have to slow or stop
That's
before they make
correct.
the turn instead of just. full
Instead of
speed
just
ahead.
moving on through, yeah. Right now, people kind of ride and look across the triangle intersection. If they're going right, they just go right on out into traffic.
Yeah, or they're coming down Nineveh and they turn on Chelsea. It's just.
Move swiftly.
Right.
Move swiftly.
Is,
so.
I'm looking at that picture and thinking of all the times I used to play in that triangle there. And the fact that my family's lodge was there, it's somewhat nostalgic. It sounds like to me that there are potentially a lot of benefits to doing that, and being that I basically grew up around there and have come up and down Chelsea. I don't even know how many thousands of times, and it is hectic at that intersection. The one question that I would have is, who is going to pay for this?
So the developer anticipates paying for it. They probably would seek, let's say, partnership if we could find, maybe while all of these are town streets, DOT from time to time will have monies for traffic safety improvements and certain pots of money that can pass through to the municipality for Powellville roads. So, in so much as you could be an applicant to carry that torch, to maybe help some of that and abate some of that cost. But the ask is not for cost participation.
Okay. And so let's just fast forward. We ended up agreeing to this and the construction is done, and then I know you referenced this, but the town, we're gonna essentially exchange that new road for the parking. Is that correct?
Correct.
I mean, effectively, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, although we're not asking because we recognize that there's, again, in existing Chelsea Road, there's water, sewer, power, and we don't want to upset those easements. So we might just look for language that would extract the transportation, like the ingress egress side of the title for that section of right of way. Leave all the utility easements and otherwise in place. And again, I'll leave that capable folks like Ms. Bradley to tell us exactly what that should.
That would be left to Mr. Stein, very valuable department.
So it's not our wish to interrupt those services or, make it cumbersome for those to be maintained, replaced, or otherwise in the future. But we would like to enjoy the right to kind of grow the parking area, if you will, onto that area, as it's paved today. So there would just be, it's separated by like 3 kind of dissimilar islands, I would say. You're getting a good picture on the screen now.
I think it will be a fantastic idea, but I've heard so much from the neighbors right there
Sure.
that I would love their input and try to ease their discomfort.
What would you think would be the best way? Do you think like just a community meeting with them?
Community meeting would be fantastic.
Okay. Okay. We're great with that idea. We just wanted to seek y'all's input.
Because there's a lot of well, you can see from this, there's a lot of condos. There's a lot of people that live right
Absolutely.
I expect they accept an invitation to snacks and libations at your new restaurant.
there. Most of them are already members.
Yeah, that's great.
And so Patrick, the entrance to the new, the potentially 8 homes would still go through that same parking lot straight across?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Elizabeth, can you keep going and zoom out a little bit from that tree right there? Okay, so I understand if this is not possible from a logistical standpoint, but that tree, I'm pretty sure I sat under it when I was a youngin'. And so I don't see that on your schematic here. Is there any possible way? And I guess I'm asking is if you could keep that tree and it would be much appreciated.
I think in fact that tree saves, there's a little area because on the opposite side, on the Nineveh Road side, AT&T has quite a bit of infrastructure there. They in fact have an easement over some portion of the triangle parking area, if you will, as the entirety piece of property. So we've really tried to work back to what's paved, gets incorporated, but what is not would remain. So it's not problematic. Like I say, they don't look in alignment right now, but if you can right back, you see that upright bank. Yeah, there's actually two fixtures there, I believe. And those trees there, a tree right there.
Those are little trees.
Yeah, it's one primary there.
Yeah. Keep going left. Yeah, okay, so they're, the rest of them are gone.
I've been the street view was July this year. That's the reason it looks so.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so the new road would actually be where those containers are right now.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
I think that would be a whole lot safer.
I think. I would be glad to attend that community meeting.
Okay.
And I think Elizabeth has something to say as well.
We would just want to make sure that the planning department has to review designs, sure fire code, our town standards, and include the sidewalk.
Yeah, there's a sidewalk.
Okay.
Which would be a big improvement to that area.
I would also be willing to attend the meeting, particularly if there's food and libations. I would sacrifice.
Nobody will get that tree up.
I just know I know most of the neighbors through there because I live one street up
Yeah, so the wishes of the board then to turn this back to the planning board, would that be the correct?
The
line?
planning
No.
department. We just need to
Planning
review it like a site.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I got the sense that, they're coming to us to get some guidance,
Okay,
and some input, and some toe tipping in the water.
okay,
To see
Okay.
what the temperature is.
okay.
And, yeah, it's kind of like order of operations. We didn't want to engage with the public about an idea that
It wasn't.
y'all are like,
No
no
way.
chance, no
Yeah.
way.
Yep.
But if you say that there is,
Yes.
I see it as a safety benefit myself, really. I mean, because I've traveled that road.
We-
Yeah, these little side streets.
Yeah, it's dangerous there, especially if, say, someone coming out of country club and then here comes one turning in, wide open. It's a very dangerous little intersection there.
We'll review this and then we'll set up that public meeting and then, we'll come back to you.
Okay, good.
With the
Good deal.
planning and public input sometime.
All right. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah.
thank y'all so much.
I think it will be very, if we can get a safety aspect and maybe show that Nineveh is actually going to slow down, there'll be a lot of buy-in.
Yeah, agreed. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, we'll go to communication from staff. Assistant Town Manager, do you have anything to report tonight?
Two things. One, I met with the cemetery committee and they've asked me to, let the town council know that during the Halloween event, they would like us to block off all of the parking that is typically allowed in the cemetery. We didn't figure that was a problem. So we're just gonna rope it off, barricade it, and make sure that nobody tears up the grass. There's hundreds of cars that park there throughout the Alex.
Auburn Park Chilton Street, yeah.
The streets on the street and Auburn Park kind of event. So we're gonna close that down. And I just wanted to say again, you mentioned, I appreciate your words at the beginning about the events today and kind of how smoothly they went. And I just wanted to say one more time for Jeff's department and Chief Adams' department and the fire department. It took a lot of work to do this. It went very smoothly, on top of the fact that we essentially forced Public Works to begin a new type of sanitation collection schedule this morning. It was a stress test.
Yeah.
Try to fix some logistical issues. And I would just say that that went very smooth as well.
Okay.
So 2 large projects happened at one time. And we're all very proud of them. So I
It was,
appreciate them.
it was awe-inspiring whenever you came around the corner and saw the 2 ladder trucks with the huge American flag. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, that's all you have?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll move on to our town attorney. You have anything for us tonight?
I do not.
Okay. That's good news. Yeah.
Got no lawsuit.
If we ain't getting sued about something. Okay, I'll go to communication from our board. Start on this end.
I'm good, Mayor.
You have anything?
I'm good, Mayor.
John?
Very quick update. Our wonderful Public Works Director told me that they're going to dig the holes next Wednesday, Jeff. And for the arch.
For the arch.
And then shortly thereafter, they'll put the poles up.
Oh,
And
good.
once that happens, it's all downhill. We have pretty much raised all the money. we
That's what I was
need.
gonna ask you, how much funding?
Yeah, we've raised, I think, more than we need.
Really? That is awesome news.
170,000, give or take.
Wow.
That was quick.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
The arch got mentioned today in that service
It did.
at the funeral home. I mean, at the church.
At the
They
service.
mentioned about the guy had visions, about the old arch and stuff. And, but it was really cool. I don't have anything. So, Julia?
I would just again like to thank Jesse and everyone in administration and police department, public services. outstanding job today. Incredible, Jesse. You went above and beyond. So
You did.
kudos to
Appreciate it.
you.
You
And
did.
then I would like to make a public apology to our Public Services Director. Well, first, I'd like to thank him for letting us borrow your vehicle. And we thought it would be funny when we left the vehicle that a 5'3" woman, we left the seat up, pushed all the way to the front. And God bless you for having to get in that after I was driving, so. But thanks, Jeff. We appreciate it.
We thought we was gonna have to extend the pedals.
I know that, yeah. I couldn't see over
Her
the,
feet-
I was just
Her feet
dashboard.
wouldn't touch the pedals. So
Yeah,
we were
but-
stuck.
Thank you, Jeff, so
Until
much.
Anthony figured out the seat. Okay. Chuck?
I think I speak for the board in commending the police department on their recent exceptional handling of the volatile incident on Prevost Street. They used all the resources at hand. They notified neighbors and residents. They notified school buses. They did everything they could, but most importantly, they utilized de-escalation tactics to diffuse the situation, which ended peacefully with no loss of life. And I'm extremely proud. I know the board is of
Oh,
our police
100%.
Very,
department.
you've done a good
Great
job,
job,
chief.
Chief.
Proud. That's all. And your guys did a good job today also.
Yes.
Today wouldn't have worked without everybody just working so perfectly together.
It was
amazing to watch all three of those major departments, fire, police, and public works, just sync up. We always expect things to break.
Yeah.
And about 90% of the way through the process, when you realize nothing's broken, you start to get nervous. And then it's over and it worked.
The wheel was oiled real well. Let's put it that way.
I'll put one more out there for a thank you to our volunteer police
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
today.
The
They
Civilian
did a
Police
phenomenal
Academy.
job and we couldn't have
We
done
were
it without
talking about, we couldn't make it without those folks, the police, Sylvia, Police
Civilian
Academy.
police.
I can't say that word. But they were great in doing their job today with helping with the traffic. So you let them know if you would. Okay, with no further, I would entertain a motion that we adjourn.
That's my job. I move that we adjourn.
Okay, a second by Chuck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Pull the plug, PT.
Turn the
I didn't show her how to turn it off. I showed her how to turn it on. Yes.
Color
I'll
situation
explain
here.
that.
No, you don't have to, I just want
Well,
to make sure that
Chuck's,
someone's aware.
that was Chuck's monitor. So I figured I'll just give it.
Candace, did I get all your stuff signed?
It wasn't working. We found out why it wasn't working. Fortunately, for some reason while it was working, it turned pink. I put it over here and tested to see if the monitor was forward. Because, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I forgot to move my pen. And I got my. It's under one.
Are these microphones off?
Go. We got another candidate. Come out here, you don't know what they're gonna bring on you.
Yeah. Hi, John. John will be praying for Liva.
Thank you. Yeah, keep me posted.
Yeah, take
Okay,
care.
buddy.